So, how did you all find the discussion and the debating that we had? Was it helpful for you all?
Very helpful, Swami.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah. Okay. You can continue that on your own in terms of arguing for and against the Shastra. It is called Oha Poha Vicharaha. Okay. There's a technical name for it. Oha Poha Vicharaha. Okay. You learn to argue for and against. That clarifies your knowledge. Okay. So I thought before we start any new text where the studies are going to be a little bit more committed. Okay. Hopefully by that time we will meet alive, offline. Yeah, Satish bhai, I can see you. Yeah. I can't hear you because this is muted. Yeah. So before we do that text, I thought we will revisit some of the old understanding. Okay. So let us start. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam.
Are we recording, Swamiji?
No, not necessary. I am recording on my this. Okay. And this will be for public anyway. So this will be put up in the public, this domain. The others was only meant for the private domain. That's why I wanted it on the
Computer.
yeah. So only those who want to see it can see it on the link. But since this will be on public domain, we can straight away record it on my recorder that I am doing that. Independent recording I am doing. So even if this gives some trouble, that will go on. Yeah. Recording will go on. So some of you have been introduced to this text Upadesha Sahasri. There are hundreds of works attributed to Adi Shankara. Okay. Some are accepted by scholars as Adi Shankara's work, many are not. Many may have been written by some later Shankaracharya. Because after Adi Shankara, Shankaracharya became a title. In the four matas, the Shankaracharya became also a title. So many of the works attributed to him could have been written by somebody later. But all the scholars agree that Upadesha Sahasri and even Dakshinamurti Stotram is definitely Adi Shankara's work. There is no doubt on that. Some of you were introduced to the prose section during the Rishikesh camp in 2016. Those who came for that camp were introduced to this text. Others can be introduced now. Those who missed that camp. I don't know who is screaming like that, but whatever. Yeah. After 1 year of classes online, people still have not learned to mute it and discipline it. 1 year.
Swami, it would be very good.
Anyway, so keeping all that in mind, we will take this as minor disturbances to check our focus. Okay. We are starting with the chapter on right knowledge. Now, normally, yes, when I first taught this text, I taught from A to Z. right from the first chapter to the last chapter. It took me 5 years. Okay, once a week class, it took me 5 years. I don't know whether any of that student is here. Kamini, were you there for that class?
No, Swamiji.
Yeah.
Not I.
Okay.
No.
This was one of my earlier classes, right in the beginning. Somewhere in 85 I did that. 86, 87 I must have done that. In Mridula Bain's house. Yeah.
No, then I was not there
Yeah,
because
no.
I never used to come to her house.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So now, because you have the background of the Gita, the Upanishads, etc., I thought of picking up one chapter so that we will revisit all that we have studied, so that we can start with some more serious texts which will call for some committed learning after this. This should take 3-4 months. So after 3-4 months, when everyone is vaccinated, we can meet offline. We don't have to be afraid of COVID then. Then we'll see where to meet, etc. The Sunday morning class, and decide how to go about it. Because all those who are 50 plus, the vaccination will start mid of March. So by mid of April, that should be done, or end of April, that should be done. So May, June, we can meet live. Okay. By that time, this chapter will be over. Yeah. So it's, yeah. I know some people are attending from out of town. So for them, I will keep the Zoom option also open, so that they don't have to miss it. Though Zoom is a poor substitute for a live class, especially when you are doing serious texts, but you will still get something out of it. Okay. Especially my students like Nisha, Falguni, etc. Okay. For them. Okay. All right. So we are starting with the 18th chapter of the Upadesha Sahasri in this book, that is page 191. Okay.
17.
Page 191. Yeah.
17.
I hope all of you have got a book.
Yes.
Yes, Swamiji.
If anyone has not had it, you can order it from Amazon. It is available. Okay. Amazon, it is available. For those who are in Bandra or close by, you will get it at Ramakrishna Mission Mutt, because it is published by Ramakrishna Mutt, Mylapore. So all the
What is
Ramakrishna
the
Mission.
page number, Swamiji?
191.
191. So the Ramakrishna Mission publications anywhere in the world should have this book. Okay. Otherwise, Amazon. Long live Amazon. Okay. In times of COVID, that seems to be working well. Okay. So without much ado, with salutation to Shankara, let us start. Okay. And the first couple of verses are naturally Mangalakarnam. Okay. You start with a prayer. That prayer can be a yachana for better understanding. That prayer can be revealing what the subject matter is. Okay. An indication of what is to come, acknowledgement of Ishvara. So it can be all these things. Okay, we start. Atma jneyah paro hi atma yasmad anyatra na vidyate sarvajnah sarvadrik shuddhah tasmai jneyatmane namaha. Atma jneyah. First statement, first quarter. Atma is the thing to be known. Even though Atma is self-evident. Atma Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha, as we saw in the camp. Atma is Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha. Swata Siddhaha, not Pramana Siddhaha. I hope these terms are familiar with all of you. Okay.
Yes,
It
yes.
is, yeah,
Yes,
it is,
Swamiji.
it is Swata Siddhaha, not Pramana Siddhaha. Therefore, self-evident. You don't need a Pramana to know it. But still, in spite of that, Atma is presented as Jnaya because you don't know that this Atma is nothing but Ishvara itself. You don't know that the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha is limitless consciousness is not known. Therefore, because of ignorance and because of Adhyasa, I have taken myself to be the body and mind. He is constrained, the teacher is constrained to put Atma as Jnaya, something to be known. Not known as an object, but known as a very subject. And what is the true nature of that subject? Therefore, Atma Jnaya. Then he goes further. These are all pratignyas, statement which will be proved throughout the text. Throughout the chapter it will be proved. What is that? Paro hi Atmaha. This Atma, that is Jnaya, is because Atma is absolute. Because Atma is absolute. It is not a finite thing. It is an absolute thing. Okay? Therefore, Atmaha Jneyaha. Okay? Atmaha Jneya. And Atmaha Paraha, the absolute, unconditioned by time and space, which is going to prove. Throughout this chapter, that is what he is proving. That Atma is Paraha. Atma is Paraha. Okay? Therefore, with Atma being Paraha, yes, why? Yasmad Anyatra na vidyate. Atmad Anyatraha na vidyate. There is nothing other than the Atma. Atmayavadam idam sarvam. All that is here is the Atma. All these are going to be proved, okay? This is called a pratignya, a statement of intention. This is what we are going to prove. Okay? Atmaha Anyatra na vidyate. And this Atma is what? Sarvajnaha Sarvadrak Shuddhaha. Sarvajnaha Sarvadrak. This Atma itself is Ishvaraha. Sarvajnaha. Sarvam Jnanati iti. Sarvajnaha. And Sarvadrak. The one that sees everything. The one that sees everything. Sarvadrak. Okay. Sarvadrak. As Ishvara, it is Sarvadrak. This is what has to be proved. Okay. Tasmai, to that, Jnanatmane Namaha. Jnanatmane Namaha. You are saluting to the Atma itself. Why? Because when you say salutation, etc., it's at the functioning level. And at the functioning level, the same Atma is nothing but Ishvaraha. Tasma Ishvaraya Namaha. To that Ishvara, my prostrations. Why? Karya Siddhaye. Karya Siddhaye. So that you can achieve what is necessary. Can achieve what is necessary. All that is necessary can be achieved. Therefore, he says, Jnanatmane Namaha. Because without Ishvara's grace, nothing happens. Nothing happens without Ishvara's grace. Without the grace of Ishvara, nothing can happen. Okay. Forget a sparrow, not a leaf shall fall. Okay. Without Ishvara's will. Therefore, because of the cosmic order, all that happens. Therefore, to complete a work, to make that work be understood by the people, because what's the point in me writing something if people are not going to understand it? Because creating a work on Vedanta is not like putting a post on Facebook. You put a post on Facebook, which I rarely do. But once in a way I do, it becomes big thing. Some people repost, some people comment on it, some people pick up a discussion on it. That's all fine. It's only a Facebook post. No big deal. I put only when I have something to say. And everything what I want to say, I will not put it on it. Okay. That I reserve for my students. Okay. But once in a way, if I feel it's important enough. But a work on Vedanta is not like that. It is far more serious. You are dealing with a topic which is not easy to understand. Learning of this is completely different from any other subject matter you would have learned. Apart from being a classical learning, all things that you have learned with a subject-object relationship. Even when you are dealing with psychology, etc., there is a subject-object relationship. This is about the self that you really are, which can never become the object, but constrained to be presented as something to be known because there is ignorance around it. Therefore, I have to understand it without objectification. Not easy. Not easy. Not easy at all. Therefore, you invoke the grace of the Lord. Invoke the grace of the Lord. Because all of us requires the grace. The teacher requires the grace so that the Lord speaks through him. That's why the teacher is not a person, it's an institution. The students need the grace so that the words will work their magic in the mind. Both are necessary. So keeping that in mind, the first invocation prayer. Then after having saluted Ishvara, now I am not explaining everything he has said there. Why? The whole text is going to explain that. This is the pratigna. Pratigna is a statement of intention. Okay? This is what I am going to do in the whole chapter. Since the statement of intention, if I start explaining now, the whole chapter will go into that. Okay? Yeah. So we will see how Shankara unfolds, and for your understanding, if anything has to be added, I will add that. Okay? Because that's always the teacher's job to do that. Yeah. It's always the teacher's job to do that. Okay. Then continuing, he says, Padavakya pramanehi nyayadipta bhutehi prakashitam Brahma Veda Rahasyam Yai Ta Nityam Pranatosmyaham. A great teacher like Shankara, okay, one of the greatest teachers in the history of Vedanta. Okay? He is saluting all the teachers before him. Padavakya pramanaihi, by words and sentences of the pramana. Okay? By words and sentences of the pramana, padavakya pramanaihi, nyadipta prabhutaihi prakashitam. The people who have revealed the source of all knowledge, that is Ishvara himself, Brahman himself, they have revealed that source of that, he says, which is Brahma Veda Rahasyam, which is the secret in the Brahma, in the Veda. Brahman, which is the secret of the Veda. Why secret? Because unless it's revealed, nobody is going to get it. Unless it's revealed, unless it's explained, nobody is going to get it. It's going to remain one of the mysteries. One of the mysteries. But it is not a mystery. It is not mystic. We are not a mystic tradition. We are a parampara of teachers and learning. Why? Because what the teacher has, he can communicate to the next generation of students. And if he can communicate, there is nothing mystic about it. Therefore, he says, those people who revealed the Veda Rahasyam, which is nothing but Brahman, how? By pada and vakya of the pramana. The words and sentences. Each word is important and the whole presentation of the sentence is important. Like if you are doing the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, the meaning of each word, Tat and Tvam, is important. Asi, important. Tatpada Nishchaya has to take place. What is Tatpada? What is Tvam Pada? And what is the sentence that makes Tat and Tvam as yourself? The obtaining identity that is revealed. Therefore, Tat Pada Pramanaihi Nyadiptaihi Prabhuti Prakashitam. Because the teachers who have unfolded and revealed it. The Upanishad makes a statement that has to be logically understood by every student. Every teacher and student comes from a background. Therefore, the teacher has to take that into account and explain that. That's why teaching always has to be live. A teacher who is no more here can be a great inspiration. And if he has left behind some works that will be valid for maybe 50 years. Or like in Shankara's case, 1000 years. Vyasa's case, 3000 years. But it will always have to be explained by a contemporary teacher. Because there will be a lot that is left unsaid. There will be a lot that is left for the teachers to unfold. And that unfolding makes it a live teaching. At the same time, how did I get the live teaching today? I got it because of my teacher. He got it because of his teacher. Somewhere very famous, somewhere very well known. Somewhere quietly sitting down and teaching in some setup. But they are all teachers who kept the parampara alive. They were all knowers of the truth. The greatness of a teacher is not by his popularity. The greatness of a teacher is how well he can unfold the truth. Therefore, all of them he salutes, okay? He salutes. Yaha tan nityam pranatosmyaham, he says. So all the gurus before me, I salute. I prostrate to them. I salute to them. And I'll echo Shankara's words and salute to them. Okay? Yeah. Up to and including my teacher. I salute to them. Because of their grace, we could gain this knowledge. Okay? We are the only civilization that has survived as a live civilization in spite of all the attacks on it. Many civilizations disappeared. The Assyrian Empire disappeared. Egyptian Empire disappeared. Sumerians disappeared. All these were ancient cultures, okay, disappeared. Inca, Mayan, etc. don't even talk about it. Okay. We are a tradition that has survived. Continuous assault even nowadays. Breaking India forces that targets the tradition. Survived. Survived. Because teachers are there, there is no central place to destroy you. You destroyed Nalanda, and every graduate of Nalanda was a walking university. How are you going to destroy all of them? This has happened in traditional cultures. The Shaolin temple was destroyed. All the monks who survived and left each became a center of learning of the Shaolin skills. Similarly in India, lot of ashramas, lot of temples were destroyed. But every guru, one man under the sun, one man sitting under a tree and teaching, kept the knowledge alive and burning. One student who had the fire to learn, who had the desire to moksha, kept it alive. Therefore, tasmai gurave namaha nityam pranatosmyaham, he says. Nityam pranatosmyaham. Because this is not like an ordinary knowledge. We can afford to lose some knowledge because we will gain it again. We can build it up again. Those knowledge keeps you in samsara. It helps you manage samsara at the best. This knowledge frees you from samsara. Therefore, this is a very sacred knowledge. What you are studying is something very profound, very sacred. Because this is the only thing that will free you from samsara. Many knowledge promises you that after death. This promises you where you are living, you can validate it and prove it in your own lives. Not a subject matter for belief. It can be validated and proved in your own lives. Therefore, what you are engaged in, I want you all to recognize that what you are engaged in is something that is truly profound and not to be taken lightly. Not to be taken lightly. After this, we are really going to commit ourselves to even more serious studying. Therefore, okay, commit to it. Commit to it. Don't listen on one Sunday, open the book on Sunday, and then next Sunday hunt where the book is before you come to the class. Go over it. Think about it. Make it your own. Okay? Right. Because every teacher has had a teacher. There is no one who has become a guru without surrendering to a guru before. Or her. This guy went and surrendered to a guru, and because of her grace, he became a guru. So, every guru was a student before, and every student is a potential guru. If you get it for yourself, you can help others get it. The Upanishadic statement is Swayam Tirtva Paran Tarayati. having crossed over the river of samsara, the ocean of samsara himself, she helps others cross it. That will come, if you know the truth, it will come very naturally to you. It will come very naturally. Even though you may not be an active teacher, it can come very naturally to you if you know the truth for yourself. It's important that you get the truth for yourself if you want a sense of fulfillment in life, if you want that freedom from your sense of finitude. If you don't want that, that's a different game. If you're looking at it for time pass, I'm sure there are a lot of things to be done on a Sunday morning. If you're looking at it as an intellectual exercise, study physics or mathematics. They'll give you a lot of intellectual exercise. Okay? But if you want freedom, if you want fulfillment, freedom from your sense of finitude, then this is the right class to be in. Okay. Then after having said this much to the whole parampara, he is paying homage to his own guru. Because your personal guru-sishya relationship is something very profound, very beautiful. In fact, I will go on to say this much, especially if you are a full-time student. Okay? If you're a full, there is nothing more sacred than a guru-sishya relationship. There is nothing as intimate as a guru-sishya relationship. Because your deepest thoughts and emotions are open to each other. To each other. The guru anyway has a large open side. He doesn't have much secrets in him. The only secrets he keeps are secrets about the people that he knows, so that they are emotionally fine. His life is an open book, especially for the students. And the students also reveal their thoughts and feelings so that the teacher can help them. Yes, the teacher cultivates a sense of independence in every student, that is true. Help the student become independent. So it is no more necessary that you don't need the teacher's help for every small emotion that you are going through or every small challenge that you are facing. But you are open to it. You are open to that sharing, so that both of you know where each other comes from. Even if there are some areas of disagreement, etc., it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. That's part of that relationship. Because the disagreement is not about Vedanta anyway. The disagreement is about some mithya aspect of life. It doesn't matter. The Guru's heart is is large enough to hold that, to accommodate that. Okay? And the student's heart should be courageous enough to present that. Then there is no problems about it. There is no problem at all about it. Yeah. Because you could have a different perception as far as Vyavahara is concerned. Because as far as Vyavahara is concerned, where is the reality? It's only a perception. All of Vyavahara is only a perception. Reality is only the self. So if the Guru is well informed, the chances are that the Guru's perception is more objective. Provided he is well informed, that's important. That his perception is more objective. That's the only difference, nothing else. But a student could be more informed about some aspects of Vyavahara, which the Guru doesn't know about. Yeah. Like if you ask me about investment in the stock market, for example, I will either catch Bharat Bhai or I will catch Nandu. Why? They are more informed than I am. They are more informed than I am on these matters. Okay, so you could have people who are more informed. Yeah. But give the Guru the fact that he will be more objective because he has the vision of the whole. If you keep this in mind, the Guru Sishya relationship can be something which is really profound and sacred. Okay. All right. With that, he goes ahead for his own Guru, which is why this is all background for the next verse. Yad vakya surya amshupataha pranashtah dvanta kalmashaha pranamya tad gurun vakshe brahma vidya vinishayam. Yad vakya surya amshuhu, like the rays of the sun, the words of my Guru, like the rays of the sun, the words of my Guru fell on my ears, he says. Apanna, sampataha, sampataha. Like how the rays of the sun will effortlessly fall in whatever is there in front. Similarly, the words which are the rays of knowledge fell on me, he says, fell on me. And because of that, pranashtaha dvanta kalmashaha, destroyed the darkness of ignorance in my mind. I went to my Guru just because he seemed to be an impressive person, personally. When I first went to him, I did not realize I was going into something so profound. He was a friend, philosopher, guide. And in time I discovered the student in myself and the Guru in him. Therefore, by his mere words, Ajnanam gone. All my Ajnanam gone, Kalmasha. Okay. Therefore, Pranamya Tan Gurun Vakshi. Tan Gurun Pranamya. Okay. Prostrating to that Guru of mine. In Shankara's case, Govinda Bhagavad Pada. Govinda Bhagavad Pada. In my case, Puja Swamiji, Dayananji himself. Swamiji studied from other people also. Correct, I studied from other people also. Guru was Swami Dayananji. Like you say, na? In fact, long back I heard somebody in Rishikesh say this. पिताजी तो एक है, चाचा बहुत हो सकते हैं. You can have a lot of chachas, uncles. Father is one. So similarly for me, Guru was Puja Swamiji. Chacha to both थे. Had chachas, uncles. Swami Tarandagiri, Tirthaji, all these were there. Others also were there. So, Pranamya, with my salutations to them. Vakshe, what am I going to say? Brahma Vidya Vinishchayam. The Brahma Vidya that I gained from them. Aham Vinishchayam. I am making it very clear for my students. I am making it very clear for my students, he says. Vinishchayam. Very clearly. Therefore, if you want clarity, better study this. If you want clarity, you better study this. You will gain clarity then. Yeah. You will gain that clarity. Therefore, for the sake of clarity, study this. And the topic is Samyak Mati Prakarnam. Samyak Mati. Right knowledge, clear-cut knowledge. Okay, clear-cut knowledge, which is what we are all after. So for that clear-cut knowledge, okay, we study this chapter. This is how the chapter starts. Very nice way of starting. In the process of saluting the teachers, the whole parampara is revealed. The methodology is indicated. That the transmission of knowledge is by words. Live teaching is what makes it work. Live teaching is what makes it work. That's why somebody wanted half a dozen books to read in their private Gita class that they were having. That was put up in the group. I discouraged them. Why? Because I don't think that group, which is not very exposed to traditional knowledge, will really be able to study this and understand. If you have been exposed, some of you were exposed to the first chapter, the prose section in the camp, and you all saw how difficult it was because the whole Adhyasa Bhashya was covered in it. That's an advanced text. That is not something that you will discuss in a Gita study group. That's not something that you will be studying in a Gita study group. Yeah. So it's important to see what you can study and what you cannot study. In your enthusiasm to study, be careful. Be careful. Yes, those of my students who have gone through the Upanishads, the Gita, the Upanishads and the Brahma Sutras, they may be able to understand most of it with some struggle if they have some Sanskrit with them. If they have Sanskrit, they will be able to. If they don't have Sanskrit, they won't be able to. Okay? They won't be able to. Therefore, it's always better to study live. And to those people who wanted to study that, I will say, pick up the Gita Home Study course and study. If you really want to study seriously something on your own or with a group of people, pick up the Gita Home Study course by Pooja Swamiji and study that. That will bless you. Don't in your enthusiasm start a text like this. It won't work. Take it from me. It won't work. Why am I saying this? Because before joining the ashram, I read this. And before joining the ashram, I have been exposed to a lot. I had been exposed to a lot before I joined the ashram. But believe me, my understanding of this was very partial. Whereas after studying the ashram, the whole thing was different. The whole understanding was very, very different. Okay? So take it from me that don't try the self-study. What you can do is, on your own, whatever you have heard in the class, go over it, reflect over it, challenge it, understand it, answer your own questions. That will help. Tat chintanam, tat katanam, anyonyat tat prabodhanam. Therefore, if you are discussing this, discuss this with someone else who has already heard it. Don't say that person is a scholar and I studied from someone else. Maybe, I don't know. When you mention the teacher, if I don't know, chances are good that person may not be traditional. I am not saying I know every traditional teacher in India. I am not saying that. I am not claiming that. But most I know. Anyway, after that, let's go further. Okay. Atma labhat paro nanyah labha kaschana vidyate yadartha vedavadascha samarthascha pitu ya kriya. Atma labhat paraha na anya labha. Other than Atma labha, there is no greater labha, he says. Why? Because you are gaining the infinite, not something finite. Any gain that you have in life is always finite. However beautiful it is, and not that in Vyavahara there aren't beautiful gains. Of course, there are beautiful things to gain. If you gained a nice house, it's beautiful. A nice partner in life, very lucky. Great gain, God's grace. Great career. All these are great, but they are all finite. You have a great partner in life, but you need a friend as well. Certain things to discuss, you need a friend, you need a buddy. Man or woman, you need a buddy. It's healthy. It's healthy. Yeah. Great home, but you need to get out sometimes. All of you experienced that during COVID. Okay. Yeah. Great job, but you need a vacation. They're all limited in their. They're all limited. They're all limited. Atmalabha is not like that. It is total fulfillment. Whether things are there in your life or things are not there in your life, you are fine. You are fine. You are fine. Things work out for you or don't work out for you. You may have a lot of plans. A wise person can also have plans. No? For the sake of the society, he'll have plans. Let's put up an ashram, create teachers for the future. Right? Doesn't work out. So, didn't work out. The Lord doesn't want me to do it, that's all. What about your life? Great. Anando. What's the problem? Anando. There is no issue. There is no issue. Anando. Yeah. So many things you planned, things didn't work out. You thought this bunch of students will be really great. You spent a lot of time and effort with them. Turned out to be half-hearted. That's okay. You planted the seeds. Next lifetime they will get it. You are Ananda. And a few of them blossomed out. Great. But you are still Ananda. That Ananda manifests itself very nicely when you relate to them. Good, nice. Therefore, there is no other gain higher than the Atmalabha, he says. Atmalabhat parahana anyalabha. Anyalabha kaschana vidyate. Nowhere will you find. Nowhere will you find. That's why something like this, when I travel, I see some great scenes. Some great places. It's all great. It's all great. But nowhere does it come to the comparison of what you are. That Ananda, that fulfillment of yourself, what you are. Nothing in the world matches that. It's such a great, peaceful place. Yeah, very true. Very true. But does it match the peace that you are? The peace that you are doesn't depend upon your environment. Remember that next time when Ganesh Chaturthi comes around in Bombay, okay? Or Navratri comes around and then there are 3 dandiyas going around close to your place because you happen to be living in a Gujarati locality. Remember that. Nothing matches the peace that you are. Nothing can disturb that. Anando. all those noises are nothing but waves in the consciousness that you are. Today the consciousness is like a stormy sea, but the water is the same. And sometimes it's calm as a mill pond. I am bored. What is there to be bored? You're fulfilled. How can fulfillment be boredom? Swamiji, weren't you bored during the COVID? How can fulfillment be boredom? Because I know your TV went out for a week. So what? It became a detox. So what? How can fulfillment be a boredom? How can fulfillment be disturbed? How can fulfillment be unhappy? Okay. Now sometimes maybe we functionally disturbed because I got a message that your internet is a bit unstable. So I may have to switch over to my phone, okay? But it's only the internet that is unstable, not me, okay? I hope none of you also. In reality, you are not. In reality, you are not.
Hello, Swamiji, we cannot see you.
I am very much on the screen.
Suddenly what happened?
What happened was my internet became unstable, but I am very much on the screen right now. Can you all see me or can you all not see me?
Swamiji switching to phone.
Huh?
Okay, thank you.
Can you all hear me? Or you all cannot hear me? Okay, can you all hear me now? Can you all hear me or you can't hear me? Will someone respond? Okay, can you all hear me now?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah, Swamiji can hear you but can't see you.
Now
Okay.
it is visible. No? Swamiji.
I don't know. I can't see you.
Okay, you should be able to see me now. See and hear both. Okay. So the connection is not stable, okay? But I'm okay. And hope all of you are also okay. Yeah. To be able to take all these small disturbances on the side, on your stride, because part of the game when we are doing it on Zoom. Okay. I generally find up to 12 o'clock it goes fine. After that the trouble starts, probably because more and more people are getting onto the net. Sunday, no? Okay. All right. Therefore, Atma Labhat Nanya Labha Kastana Vidyate Yadartaha Veda Vadascha Samarthaschapi tu Ya Kriya. And this is the purpose of the whole Veda, he says. Samarthascha Ya Kriya tu Ya Kriya. Including the Karma Kanda section. Now, when you look at the Karma Kanda section, you will find it's all about vibhutis. Vibhuti meaning getting money, getting name, getting fame, getting children, getting wealth, getting prosperity, going to heaven, etc. In what way is that connected with in what way is that connected to knowing the truth? Because knowing the truth is a different ball game altogether. Okay, but it is still connected for the simple reason that, as Ramana says in this thing, what you call Upadesha Saram. Karma kim param, karma tu jadam. How can karma be taken as absolute? Karma is inert by itself. Karma does not deliver the goods. Karma is not meant for moksha. All that is true. But he also adds, what is that? Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shuddhakam mukti sadhakam. That karma section, the first section of the Veda, prepares you for moksha by giving you chitta shuddhi. By giving you chitta shuddhi. Why? Because as a human being, you will have desires. How can you not have desires? If you have a sense of finitude, you will have desires. even without a sense of finitude, you will have what is known as badita ichhas, non-binding desires, preferences. Yeah. Which wise person? I have not known of any wise person who went to a bandara and did not eat an extra jalebi. Why? Non-binding desires. हो गया, मिल गया, खा लिया. नहीं मिला, नहीं खा लिया. What difference does it make? Other desires also may come up in the mind. You'll be able to laugh it away. You'll say, ये क्या मन है? What type of things it is throwing up? ये सब पूर्व संस्कार के effect है. It's all because of purva samskara. All that you have gone through previously in your life, they have left a samskara in your mind, because of which you have certain desires. But they are badhitam, fulfilled not a problem, non-fulfilled not a problem. You may not even want to make an effort to fulfill it. की फर्क पैंदे ऐसे पंजाबी से, what difference does it make? So, that is the thing. There is no other gain, he says. There is no other gain. Therefore, the whole of Veda is ultimately meant for moksha. Though it is true, we do distribute the human purusharthas as four: dharmartha, kama, moksha. It is true, we do that. Why? That is a recognition of the human condition. You recognize the human condition. That artha kama is natural for every human being. If you are a finite human being, artha and kama is natural to you. We recognize that. We also recognize that you will do a lot of activities to fulfill artha and kama. But your human efforts may not be enough to take care of your fate factor. Therefore, to take care of that fate, to give you that plus, the Veda reveals rituals in the first portion, meant to enhance your worldly efforts so that you can get your artha and kama. So that whether you get it or you don't get it, you are satisfied, you have done everything you could. And if it is done with Karma Yoga Buddhi, you will grow out of that Artha Kama. Until your desire for Artha Kama will remain mere preferences. Those desires get reduced to preferences. What would you prefer, this or that? That's all. No big deal. No big deal. And once it gets into that level, that it's okay, I can manage without that Artha Kama. Because security is a relative term, isn't it? What is security anyway? Who and what is your security? Money? People? Yes, we have children so that they look after us in our old age. And how many families are there in India whose children are in states who can't even come down if something goes wrong? They have to rely on their neighbor for that. What security are you talking about? Money? It's very interesting, the question of money. Okay. When I first came to Bombay, I organized a talk for Pujya Swamiji. Then I said, we have to do some fundraising for our Coimbatore ashram. Let me introduce him to South Bombay. So I organized a program in the Oberoi. called people. And I said, we are calling them after work, etc. You should offer them a cup of tea. So he said, okay. And that time, they were charging $10 for a cup of tea. I said, highway robbery here, $10 for a cup of tea? Udupi charges $1. And here they are charging 10 times as much. Highway robbery. Today Udupi charges $25 for a cup of tea. Today Udupi charges $25 for a cup of tea. That means someone who could afford to drink a cup of tea in Oberoi every day, if his income has not gone up, he will not be able to afford to go to Udupi and drink it. What is the financial security you are talking about? Now you know why people are financially insecure. Even those people who have a lot of money are financially insecure. Yeah. You think people who have more money are more financially secure? I know plenty of people who are financially insecure, who have lots of money. And I'm not talking lots of money in terms of middle class. I'm talking of lots of money in terms of being billionaires. They are also financially insecure. Why? Because they are not taken care of their growth. Ishvara Arpanam Prasada Buddhi is not there. So either you should have that Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, say Ishvara's will be done. Or you need to have the warrior thinking, which is also based on Ishvara. Come what may, I will handle it. Come what may, I will handle it. Loss of limb. God's will, I will handle it. I will handle it. What is it that you can't handle? That's why all full-time students of Vedanta live on Bhiksha for some time. Your prarabdha through the Lord decides whether you will eat today or you will not eat today. Insecurity goes. Therefore, this first portion, all the karmas done with prasada buddhi, Ishvara Arpana buddhi, helps you grow. Pariksha Lokan happens. You are examining the world and what it can give you, and realize that what it can give you is not enough for you. The heart does not know complete satisfaction. You don't feel fulfilled. You don't feel fulfilled. Therefore, mokshartam, you will come to the Upanishad. Guru mevapi gachet shotriyam brahmanishtam. Go to a guru who will help you discover the fulfillment that you are, that you already are but did not know. Therefore, this param labha, this param labha is what Vedanta talks about. And this knowledge, self-knowledge, is going to be the subject matter of this whole text. Okay. Let us game to look at one more verse. 10 minutes? Okay. Let us go ahead. Atmarthopi yehi labha sukhayesto viparyayah Atmalabha param proktaha Nityatvad Brahmavedibhi. Atmarthapi yohi yo labha. Any gain which is meant for yourself, and all gains are meant for yourself. But Swamiji, I am working for a nationalist cause. Very good. You are thinking for larger than yourself. But why are you doing that nationalist activity? Very good it is. You are doing very positive contributions, not reactive contributions, not destructive contributions, like what happened on 26th January. No, you are doing very positive work. Why are you doing it? Because Swamiji, I want to see my nation grow and progress. That's what makes me happy. Atmalabha. Atmalabha is there in it. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. We have seen that statement before. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Out of the love of the self alone does everything becomes real. Because I can't afford to see my nation being like this. And don't worry, there are plenty of people with plenty of notions how the nation should be. I want the nation to be like this so that I can keep looting it. Atmalabha. I want the nation to be like this so that everyone will develop. Atmalabha. But huge difference between the two Atmalabha. Two huge difference between it. Okay? Therefore, Atmarthopi ye labha sukha ye ishtaha viparyayaha. That is meant for your sukha, but it can create the opposite effect also. Everyone who is married knows that. You married for the sake of being happily ever after. I don't have to explain anything more. You all know it. Swamiji, I am very happy with him. But he drives me up the wall sometimes, you know. Swamiji, he will never change. 20 years I have been trying. Then why are you trying for 20 years? Give up. Stop trying to change. You will find it happier. Therefore, the same thing that you gained for what you thought will be pleasure can create the opposite effect also, he says. Or if nothing, it can show you the limitations of it. The limitations of it. And nobody is happy with the limitation anyway. It's exactly the same. It is great, but there will always be a but to it, you know. No, my job is great, but what? My colleagues are like that. My boss is like that. No, they are all fine, but timing is too much. There will always be a but. Why? Because it's not meant to give you fulfillment. It is meant for that finite result, nothing more. But you are expecting fulfillment. The heart is hunting for fulfillment, not anything short of that. Nothing short of that. Therefore, viparyaya also cannot. Atmalabha param proktaha. Whereas Atmalabha is param proktaha. It's only about fulfillment. You have a partner, in spite of that you are fulfilled. You don't have a partner, in spite of that you are fulfilled. You have plenty of food and drink at home, you are fulfilled. You don't have anything at home, you are still fulfilled. You have or you don't have, you are a fulfilled being. Therefore, happily you can go about doing all the practical things that you need to live a life. Because everyone requires to lead a life. Food, clothing, shelter, everyone requires. Who doesn't require? Who doesn't require? Everyone requires. But you can happily go about it. You can happily go about it because you are a fulfilled being. Therefore, Atma Labha Para Prokta Nityatvad Brahma Vedibihi. Why? Because it is Nityaha, unconditioned by time and space. Nityaha, unconditioned by time and space. Always there. Therefore, if the Atma is always there, you are always a fulfilled being. Never are you not a fulfilled being. Whatever conditions of life you find yourself in, fulfillment is the most natural thing for you. Your conditions may be very pleasant, your conditions may be very unpleasant. Four walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. Yeah. This happened in the 60s during the Go Andolan. There was a great Andolan against cow slaughter in Delhi. Some of the sadhus also went there. Because some of the sadhus who are from the villages, for them the cow is very, very sacred. Why? After their mother, the only milk they are drunk is the milk of the cow. So the cow becomes as sacred as a mother for them. Especially if you are brought up in a village, etc., it becomes very sacred. In a city, it doesn't become very sacred because you are getting milk in a pouch or a carton. You are disconnected with the cow that gave you that milk. So some of the sadhus also went for that Andolan. So the Indira Gandhi government arrested all of them and put them in jail. So, then after 1 week they were released. So they came back to Rishikesh and canvassed for more sadhus coming there. So we asked them, you are in jail, why do you want to go back to jail? Maharaj ji, बहुत मजा होता है वहाँ. Why? कहाँ जाने नहीं पड़ता है. भिक्षा वहाँ ही मिलता है. दाल रोटी सब्जी भी मिलता है. Which in the Kshetra you'll get only dal roti, no sabji. इधर दाल रोटी सब्जी भी आता है. और हर शाम को हम लोग सब बैठ के सत्संग करता है. Because Rishikesh is all spread out all over the place. Here everyone is in one place. सत्संग करता है. What do you do with sadhus like this?
ऐसा तो ना भला है तो
Putting them in prison.
फिर क्या करूँ, उसको भी तो बनाना, ये भी कच्चे लगे.
Putting them in prison is not a problem. Nor is that disturbance a problem. Okay. What to do if some people are idiotic and they don't know how to even mute themselves or don't care to mute themselves. So nothing is an issue. Nothing is an issue. Why? Because you are Ananda. Ananda in any situation will remain Ananda. And a finite person in any situation will remain finite, dissatisfied. Temporary satisfaction you will get here and there. But you will remain the same. You are not going to change. If your mind is a monkey, it will be a monkey, whether it is in Bombay or in Rishikesh. Therefore, Atma Labha, knowing yourself, that becomes the most important thing. That is the only thing that's really worth striving for. Others are only for your practical things. To take care of practical needs, yeah, of course. Go get them. Get them. For your practical things, you need them. So what's wrong? Go and get them. By whatever means, dharmic means that you think is fair, please go ahead and get them. Nothing wrong. But Atma Labha is entirely different. It frees you from this whole need. It frees you from the rat race. It frees you from this game. Okay. But more of this, if there are no questions or clarifications, we will see next time. Any questions, clarifications on this, or it's all fine? I think we started very simple with simple verses, with simple this. But if there are any questions, please ask. Okay? Please ask. Okay, so since nobody is asking, I am assuming that there are no questions or clarifications. Okay, so good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.